Hello and welcome to another episode of Anything Arduino. I'm not a big fan of remote controls. A few reasons. They're ugly, they're bulky, and they have quite a lot of unnecessary buttons that you never use for anything. Actually, there's just a few buttons that you use on each one. And usually what people do as a solution to this problem, they buy an even bigger, even uglier universal remote control, and they put all the functions they want into that, and they have that one lying around. Today we're going to do something similar but completely different, because there is one remote control that I do find quite nice and good looking. And that is the Apple remote for the Apple TV, or they have it for a iPhone 4 dock and stuff like that. And I bought one of these docks just to get hold of one of these remotes. Because today we're going to make the Apple remote into a universal remote control. We're going to do this with the help of an Arduino, of course, and an IR detector or IR receiver, like this one here, that is going to capture all the data we need from these controllers, and also capture the signal and data from the Apple remote when we want to send a command. And then the data that we have received from our other remotes we're going to send with IR LEDs like this. And we're going to make small senders, receivers, depending on which equipment we want to point this thing at, and it will work with. So we're going to do it for the TV and satellite dish setup, and also for a stereo that I actually lost my control for, so I hope I can find the codes for that online. So let's get started, and let's get started with the first thing that we mostly do: download a library. So to find the library, you write Arduino IR library. You will get up a GitHub page where it says Sheriff Arduino IR remote. This library has been around for ages, and Sheriff, who's doing this one, I'm not sure his real name. Let's see if it's Ken Sheriff. Yeah, he's been doing this a long time. As you can see here, 2009, so at least 5 years it's been in the making. And it works very well with a lot of protocols, IR protocols. So let's download this one. And as usual, let's open the zip file, IR remote master. And let's go into our documents, Arduino, libraries, let's move this folder from the zip file into the libraries folder, and we need to rename it like this. You can't have any dashes in the library paths, so like that. Let's close this, and let's go into the IDE. As usual in our examples, we should now have a couple of IR remote examples. So we have the IR record, which is for recording IR codes and printing it to the serial port, I believe. Relay just receives a signal and sends it right out again, and a few others. So for our first step, we are going to get the codes from the Apple remote, so we can do our template file. So let's open the IR record file. And hardware-wise, this is a very simple setup. Record and playback IR signal as a minimal. So an IR detector demodulator must be connected to the input receiver pin. And input receiver pin is pin 11. So, and then also an IR LED must be connected to the output PWM pin 3. So pin 3 an IR LED, and on pin 11 the receiver. So for this first part, where we are just going to record the IR codes from the Apple remote, we only need one component, and that is I'm using a Vishay TSOP 38238, I believe. Yeah, that's correct. And if you look at it from the front with the bevel side towards you, you have the first pin, the one on the left is the data pin, the data out pin, the middle pin is ground, and the third pin is voltage plus. So we're going to connect this to our Arduino. Our data pin to pin 11, as it said in the sketch, and then ground and plus 5 volts. Ground was in the middle, and plus 5 on the right. So let's upload the sketch, and so let's again open up our examples IR remote IR record sketch. What this sketch does is it will record a value on with the IR demodulator, the one we just connected, and if a button is pressed, button connected to pin 12, then it is going to send the code with an IR LED, which we haven't connected either. So we're going to add another connector to our board. Just going to connect pin 12 to plus 5, so it doesn't press that button. I believe it is plus 5. We'll see that in a bit. So let's upload the sketch. We're looking in the code here while it's uploading. It's going to serial print all the commands we need. Hopefully. So I was wrong about the, it should be high, it should be low. Let's make it low instead. And let's look at the serial monitor. Now, we're going to see if this works. A good thing with a digital camera, because IR LEDs are invisible to the human eye, you can just point it towards a camera, like the one I'm having in front of me right now, and press a button. And if you see that it flashes kind of blue, then you know that it is working. And also, if we look at the screen, we now see that we actually have gotten some information there. So if we just, so we're going to begin with the middle button, which is, it actually sends 2 commands. And the one on the side is just the same command. So special, a bit special, the one in the middle actually sends 2 commands at the same time. Interesting. So I'm just going to put these down on a piece of paper and we'll be right back. Okay, so I've done this schematics over the Apple remote like this, and I've written down all the commands for all the buttons. So there are 7 buttons in total, 5 in this circle here, the menu button and the play pause button. The middle button in the ring sends 2 commands, and also the play pause sends 2 commands. And it's not the same commands, so these are 2 different buttons, so that's good to know. So there are 7 functions we can address with just one button. We could, of course, it is Arduino and we can program it either way we want. We could make the menu into a sub-menu, so if you press that one, it won't send a signal, or it will, of course, send a signal, but in the program it will just go into a subsequence where all the buttons do something completely different. That way we would get 12 commands. So, but for now I only need 7. I also did this, what I want the buttons to do. On the TV I want to change the channel change up and down on the satellite receiver, and I want the volume up down. The play pause button will be the input to choose input, and the middle button will be play pause on the DVD. On the stereo, the play button will the middle button will be play pause on the CD, and also change the input channel on the stereo to CD. Then it will be up down and CD next previous. And then okay, so I've been sitting with the code off camera for a while, and I want to go through the code like this instead of hacking it, because that would take a bit more time. So we begin by including the irremote.h. We set up the pins. I have decided to use the same pins as they use in the examples. Receiver pin on pin 11, and then we turn the IR receiver on this pin. Decode results. This is for the data that comes in on the IR receiver. We'll look at this in a moment. And then we have we start the IR send with the IR send variable. And for some reason this is always on pin 3 on the 80 mega. I'm guessing that it's a bit different on other chips though, if you have a Arduino Mega and stuff like that. But anyway, you can change it from, well, you can change it, but not easily, so let's just leave it at pin 3. I have then also defined with the help of a sketch called IR receive dump, I have received all the commands from the Apple remote. And then I've done, there are 2 unsigned ints here. These are raw data files, because this library you can send NEC commands, Sony commands, Panasonic, loads and loads and loads of standard stuff. But my satellite receiver was not standard stuff. It was an Samsung, I think, and it didn't recognize it as any standard codes, so it spit it out just like this. It spit it out the raw data for me to use. So using this command, I then copied this whole line like this, and I also did using this tool right here. I just made this tool so you can quickly create the raw send codes from raw receive codes, because you have to take away all the minus signs and take away all the spaces and put commas instead, and this first waiting period needs to be taken away. So variable name like this, and it creates the unsigned integer for you, and it also creates the command for sending this integer or this command. So I did that. So for the program up on the satellite receiver and program down, I have these, which I will also show you later. I also got the volume up on my TV remote, which was NEC, this volume down. Input was this, or if this isn't working, I was a bit unsure because it was quite intermittent when it worked. So I also have the raw code if this doesn't work. And then we enable IRN, start the receiver. And in the loop we check in each iteration if we get a code. If I receive the code, results, and that's the results. So and then we do a small delay here. This delay was necessary because the IR signals block each other. So when I point the Apple remote towards the TV and then immediately sends the TV signal, they block each other. So 200 millisecond delay here works fine. Then we do a switch for all the buttons, Apple, middle, up, left, and so on. And I'm not using all the buttons at this moment. I am actually only using, on the TV satellite setup, I'm only using the Apple up, left, down, and right. And I haven't gotten to the stereo setup yet. So here you see Apple up is volume up. So we send our NEC command here, 32 bits, and every time we send an IR send, use the IR send command, we need to re-enable the IR receive, because the IR send disables the IR receive. So in each case we need to do that before breaking out. And this is all the ways, and then we have the send raw. This was for the program down and program up. We need to send raw. And program up and program down was these two unsigned arrays over there. So that's it. Let's look quickly at the hardware and then let's go and try this out. So this is also quite a simple project, or hardware wise. What we'll need is the IR LED, the IR decoder or the receiver, and also because the IR LEDs are so weak, when you just plug it into a pin on the Arduino, we're going to use an NPN transistor. In this case we're using the BC337, which works well for our purpose here. So we begin with the NPN transistor. We connect it like that, and let's see. So we're going to connect the IR LED to the collector. Some cables. The emitter we connect to ground. So we put it on our Arduino board to ground. And the middle pin, the base, we connect to our Arduino pin 3, which is always the IR LED. And the receiver sorry, we need to connect the LED to 5 volts as well. And then we have the IR receiver. So this of course depends on which one you have. I have the Vishay V38238. So data pin is the one on the left, connected to pin 11. Ground is in the middle. Let's use that one. And power. Is on the right. See, I did that correct. Alright, so if you now take your Apple Control remote and you point it towards the receiver, a completely different IR command will come out of the IR LED. There, you will only see it flashing. That flashing is commands coming out. So let's go and try this out. Alright, so I'm here at my TV and my satellite receiver is in the cupboard right there. The Arduino is on the floor connected to a wall outlet with a USB charger. I have added an LED on pin 13 along with a debug command that you will see down there right now. What this does, I can now change channel like this. The debug is that as soon as this one receives an IR signal, it will blink, so I know that it receives the signal. So if I point over there, I still receive the signal, amazingly, so quite good. What is not so good is the sending signal. Even though we use the NPN transistor, it's still not that good. So we turn the volume up like that, and we turn it back down. So this means that it's working as it should. It does hang from time to time, so I might have to add some kind of reset function with in some kind of interval. So I hope you like this project and that you will also find the Apple remote to be a perfect universal remote control with just enough buttons. So until next time, please subscribe, and I want to thank all the new subscribers that I'm guessing want to see more of this. So I have a few geeky with the kids things that we've done, and loads of more anything Arduino coming up. So Until next time, take care. Bye.